Progressive Field in Cleveland, Ohio, the New York Mets play the Cleveland Indians. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the Better Network, Verizon. Better matters. By StubHub. Looking for great seats? Head to StubHub, the official ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. By Tri-Honda. Hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on 2016 models. By Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in-store or online at mybobs.com. And by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better with Time Warner Cable. Call 1-855-WANT-TWC today. Well, it's a beautiful day in Cleveland, Ohio, and a big day for the city of Cleveland because, well, it's a two-sport town today, and the way the arenas are configured, well, they're right next door to each other. So later today, it's LeBron and the Cavs. But first, the main event, the Mets and the Indians. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Cleveland. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez joins me in just a moment as the Mets wrap up their three-game interleague series against the Indians. It's been a high-scoring affair so far. Mets came in on Friday night struggling to score runs. Bartolo Colon took the mound back in his old haunts where he began his career in Cleveland, and he tied Pedro Martinez with his 219th win. And the Mets all of a sudden found their power in the fifth inning. Alejandro De Aza and Yoenis Cespedes and Neil Walker all going deep in quick succession. The Mets built themselves a big lead and then hung on with the tying and winning runs on base in the ninth inning. J. Reese Familia got the final out for the save, and the Mets beat the Indians 6-5. Yesterday, Matt Harvey took them out in search of his first win of the year, and he came out guns blazing. He struck out the side in the first inning, and Matt proceeded to retire the first 13 Indians to face him. However, things got dicey in the fifth inning, and the Indians then put 9 of the next 13 men on base and scored 5 runs, and Harvey's day was ruined yet again. Mets were down 7-1 in this game, fought their way back to 7-5. But with the tying run at bat, David Wright hit the ground ball to end the game, and the Indians had a 7-5 win to even up the series. So it's been a big offensive series so far.
Well, it has been. And remember, the Mets started the season, the first 8 games, last in runs scored, only scored 20 runs. Well, they've scored 11 here in the first 2 games. And as Gary showed you in the highlights there, the 7 home runs in this series, that's the positive end there. Outside of Noah Syndergaard on the pitching side, the pitching has been a little bit down right now. They need to pick it up. But all in all, I think the positive coming into this final rubber match here, a game in Cleveland, is the offense has taken off.
And on the pitching front, it's Steven Matz going to the mound for his second start of the year. The first one could not have gone much worse.
Well, he had a tough one. I mean, he got rocked. And I think a lot of it had to do with him missing a start, getting set back with all the bad inclement weather. He's out here now on regular rest. Hopefully he can get his rhythm and win a ball game here.
And for the Indians, the former Cy Young Award winner Corey Kluber looking for his first win of the year.
Well, he lost a tough one his last time out, a 2-run home run. He lost 3-1 in Tampa. Former Cy Young Award winner 2 years ago, lost 16 games last year. Big curveball, one of the best pitchers in the American League.
So it's the Mets and the Indians wrapping up their series on another sunny day in Cleveland. Mets and Indians, all the action coming your way on SNY. Free Shirt Friday of 2016 on April 29th when the Mets face off against the Giants at 7:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a 2015 National League Champs t-shirt courtesy of 1-800-Flowers.com. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. Closed captioning for Mets baseball brought to you by Sideline. Bob Feller showing how it's done. Steven Matz and Corey Kluber will try and imitate him. First pitch, Mets and Indians coming right up. Cleveland, Corey Kluber getting ready to make his third start of the year for the Tribe.
Nice looking uniform, don't you think, Gare?
Yeah, they wore this alternate yesterday. I like it a lot.
Very clean. I love it.
Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup for this afternoon. David Wright getting a scheduled day off. So is Dribble Cabrera, who's been swinging the bat well, moves up to the 2-hole. Michael Conforto stays third. Travis d'Arnaud's elbow is going to keep him out of action today and maybe tomorrow after being hit by a pitch yesterday, but could play in an emergency. Kevin Plawecki will get the start behind the plate this afternoon.
And there's today's starting pitcher, Corey Kluber, 30 years old, 2 years removed from American League Cy Young. Led the league last year in losses at 16. A big strikeout guy, though. Struck out 245 batters. And the Indians defense brought to you by Coors Light. Ramirez gets a start out in left field today. Naquin gets a day off. On the infield, the old reliable Juan Uribe, a big part of the Mets last year in their run to the division title and the National League crown, and Yan Gomes behind the plate.
Curtis Granderson will lead things off. Curtis began yesterday's game with a home run. Last year hit 7 leadoff home runs, which was a Mets club record, and 2 extra base hits yesterday as he tries to get his April jump started. And Kluber's first pitch of the afternoon is a fastball in for a strike.
Curtis starting to swing the bat a little bit better here in this series.
Kluber now 30 years old. When he won the Cy Young 2 years ago, 18-9, 2.44. His ERA was about a run higher last year when he went 9-16, but interestingly, his walks and hits per innings pitched, his whip was actually lower last year than it was the year he won the Cy Young. Of course, the wins and losses often depended on run support, and it's been going down for Kluber. Actually, the year before he won the Cy Young, he had his best run support. And then last year, it went down the tank.
Yes.
2-2 to Granderson. He'll rely on a good sinking fastball, a cutter, and a curveball.
He's got a great curveball.
It was when he decided to ditch his four-seamer and go more with his sinking fastball in 2013 that his career began to turn around.
Well, he's had the third most 10 strikeout games since 2014. Anytime you're striking out double digits, and even though in today's strikeout world of baseball, it's still 10 strikeouts is 10 strikeouts. It means a lot.
245 strikeouts last year in 222 innings. 3-2 on Granderson leading off, and Curtis lays off and draws the leadoff walk. Kluber does not walk many. Last year, fewer than 2 walks per 9 innings. Here's your umpiring crew for today. Bob Davidson, the veteran, has the plate. Lance Barrett at first. The crew chief Dale Scott at second. Dan Iasonia is at third. So the Mets have a leadoff base runner, and now has Drupal Cabrera, the former Indian. 2 for 6 in this series. Moved up to the 2-hole with David Wright getting the day off today.
And Cabrera hitting coming in 294 has been very steady and solid, both offensively and defensively for the Mets.
There's after that first pitch sinker.
That's what you were talking about, Gare, the sink.
Kluber came out of the same college that produced Jacob deGrom. He went to Stetson, and in fact, 2 years ago, Stetson was flush with honors when Kluber won the Cy Young in the American League and deGrom won the Rookie of the Year in the National League. By the way, the news on Jacob's infant son Jackson is positive today. Terry Collins said he spoke with Jacob last night and that Jackson is doing better. So that is certainly a relief to Jacob and his wife Stacy as they nurse the baby through some difficult times. A change up from Kluber gets him ahead on Cabrera 0-2. Jacob is he threw a bullpen session down in Florida today, and he'll do that again on Tuesday. And the Mets hope that they can get him back in the rotation when they get to Atlanta next weekend.
Well, I tell you what, the Mets need a strong performance. The bullpen in particular needs a strong performance and a deep performance from Matz today.
Granderson at first and nobody out, just getting started here in Cleveland. And Cabrera finds the hole on the right side. Granderson had to hold up to avoid getting hit, so he'll pull on at second, and the Mets have the first 2 men on against Corey Kluber.
Kluber hasn't gone to his breaking ball yet. Fastball down, sinker, nice hitting at hole. You can see Granderson had to do a little jump rope here. Dodgeball. They outlawed dodgeball. What a shame.
All you have to do is watch the Ocho.
How can you outlaw dodgeball? It was fun.
Actually, I think there is actually a professional dodgeball.
Really?
I think there is. As much as, you know, they may have parodied it in the movie. Here's Michael Conforto with 2 men on.
Third straight game in the 3-hole this entire series in the 3 position, and he's going to be in there for a bit. Just watching his back shoulder, Gare, a little bit worried. He's dropping that back shoulder a little bit, getting under the ball. I want to see him start focusing on the top half of that ball, hitting line drives.
Well, he hit 1 line drive yesterday, a bullet into the right field corner for a double.
Yes, he did.
After he homered in his first at bat Friday night. So he's got a couple of extra base hits in this series. The Mets offense is broken out in the power department. 7 home runs in the first 2 games in this series after just 2 home runs in the Mets' first 8 games of the year. Mets hoping to take advantage of Kluber early on. 2-0 the count, and Conforto fouls off the fastball. Kluber has had a tendency to get off to slow starts and that includes his Cy Young year. So if you want to get him early in the season, and maybe today early in the game. 53 degrees at game time. It's been sunny and in the 50s all 3 days in this series. Not much of a breeze today. What there is blowing in again from right center field. Kluber having trouble locating his fastball, now behind 3-1 with NYN Cespedes waiting on deck.
Good pitch to hit.
Cespedes has had himself a terrific series despite the big bruise on his leg.
Well, he hit a bomb yesterday. There was no doubter into the left field bleachers.
3-1 coming to Conforto, and he smacks one toward the gap in right center field, headed toward the wall, and it's off the fence on the fly. Granderson is in. Cabrera stops at third. Conforto slides in safely with a run-scoring double, and 3 batters into the game. The Mets have a 1-0 lead.
There's your line drive, Gary. 3-1. Pitcher's in a hole there, struggling, hasn't got anybody out. Belt high out over the plate, beautifully done. Off the wall, halfway up. I'll tell you one thing. There's the fastball. There's the contact. Beautiful swing Conforto has. Didn't try to do too much with it.
So the Mets have scored in the first inning in all 3 games in this series. Conforto homered in the first inning Friday night. Granderson homered in the first inning yesterday. And now Conforto gets the Mets on the board early with a chance for more. And Mickey Callaway, the Indians pitching coach, is out visiting Corey Kluber, who has been shaky in the early going.
Well, one thing the Indians have done in the outfield is they are very solid in this series with their relay throws in. They have thrown out 2 Met runners at home plate in this series already, but they got good fundamentals. They don't miss their cutoff men.
By the way, that's the first run the Mets have scored in this series not on a home run. Here's Cespedes, who's hit 2 homers in this series and driven in 5. He's got 2 in scoring position, and most of the infield is back. And the cutter in for a strike from Kluber. Napoli, the first baseman, is in. Everybody else playing for the out at first, with Cabrera at third and Conforto at second. So a chance for Cespedes to do some damage here with Duda on deck.
Good cut. He's got his swing back.
Well, the Mets offense has found its mojo over these 2 days in Cleveland.
Yep. All that hullabaloo back there in those first 8 games. All that shouting and screaming. The sky's falling. You guys got to take a chill pill. Let's go.
The Mets are going to another good offensive park tomorrow when they start their series in Philadelphia. And the breaking ball just missed. First curveball Kluber's thrown.
He thought he had it. I thought he did too. That's a strike.
One and 2 to Cespedes. And he hits that curveball in the air, a foul ball. Gomes coming back for the call, and he can't catch it.
Wow.
Gomes had trouble locating it at first, and the first baseman Napoli was playing so far off the line he wasn't going to get there.
It was the catcher's ball, and no sun's in effect here. It shouldn't have been a sun. The sun is more behind home plate. He just botched it.
And they will charge an error on Gomes for prolonging the time at bat.
That is a rare gift.
So that makes Kluber's work that much more difficult. Threw 2 good curveballs in a row and got Cespedes to pop up the second one. And Cespedes goes down swinging on a cutter in the dirt, and that's the first out.
Hard curve in the dirt, hard to lay off. When you got a biting hook like that that has such down break.
So Kluber gets his first out via the strikeout. And he'll take on Lucas Duda with 2 in scoring position, and the infield will stay back.
And Lucas has been struggling. He's been off to a tough start.
1 for 9 in this series. They do not put on the full shift against him with runners at second and third, and he rips one into right field for a base hit, and that should score 2. Cabrera is in, Conforto right behind him. A big 2-run single for Lucas Duda, and the Mets have posted 3 against Corey Kluber in the first inning.
Well, not wasting any time. I tell you what, they got up early, had their coffee and the room service. They're ready to hit. First ball pitch right here. First ball fastball down, bled out over the middle. It's the first 2 runs that Duda has driven in since the opening series, I believe. Here,
his 4th and 5th runs batted in of the year. So the Mets off to a fast start with 3 runs home, and a hot hitter, Neil Walker, coming up. Walker has homered in each of the first 2 games of this series. He homered right-handed on Friday night. He homered left-handed his last time up yesterday. And Kluber misses away for ball 1.
So normally these day games today, there's a little bit of sleepwalking going on, but not this one.
Particularly when you're facing a frontline starter, which the Mets are this afternoon. Funny how that goes, right? The Mets faced the 4 and 5 starters for the Indians the first 2 games of the series, and having a big first inning against Kluber, who's one of the big 3 for the Indians, along with Daniel Salazar and Carlos Carrasco, whom the Mets missed. Duda at first and 1 out, and Walker takes a strike. Each of the last 2 years, Neil Walker's had more home runs than any National League second baseman, and he's tied for that lead right now.
He had 23 2 years ago. Was his career high, wasn't it?
And then he had 16 last year.
The only Mets second baseman to lead the National League in home runs was Ron Hunt with 10 back in '63, and Jeff Kent, who didn't blossom until he found his way to San Francisco, had 14 in '94,
which was a strike shortened year. Remember, Jeff came here first. He played in Cleveland before he went to San Francisco.
Came with the outfielder. What was his the David Cohn trade, wasn't it?
Ryan Thompson.
Ryan Thompson, right. It was
from Toronto to the Mets.
Right, was a bust.
Walker strikes out on the off-speed pitch from Kluber. And that's his second strikeout.
Well, he's got to throw his breaking ball more here, and there is a little wrinkle, as we used to call it.
A drop?
I like the wrinkle. I always like that term.
It's a dry cleaner's term. So 2 away. Duda's still at first, and here's Wilmer Flores getting the start at third base today. Wilmer 1 for 10 to start the season. And he pops one up. Uribe right along the line. Plucks it for the out. And that retires the side. But the Mets off to a fast start. Get 3 runs home against Corey Kluber and hand Steven Matz an early lead. Here's the Indians starting lineup this afternoon. Rajai Davis has started in all 3 outfield positions in this series. Jason Kipnis has had a terrific series, 4 for 9 with 3 doubles. Former Met Juan Uribe 4 for 6 in the series.
And Steven Matz, the local Long Island kid, suffered his first defeat of his young major league career. 4-1 career total so far. His second start of the season. The first one is one to grab it in your hands, crumple it up, throw it in the garbage.
How easy is that to do? We'll find out. Rajai Davis leads off, and Matz misses way up high for ball 1. Matz pitched an effective first inning in that first start against Miami, but then back-to-back walks put him in trouble in the second, and he just couldn't stop the bleeding. Giancarlo Stanton eventually knocked him out of the game with a home run. At that point, 7 runs had come home.
There you go. Get that ball down. First 2 fastballs up and out of the strike zone. Starts focusing on the knees.
2-1 to Davis. Popped up. Walker shading his eyes as he goes out. Granderson comes in. He sees it well, and that's the first out.
And we'll take a look at the Lexus Mets defense. De Aza getting another start here with a DH. Had a big night the first night. On the infield, Flores now is the second player in Major League Baseball to play all 4 positions of the infield. At third base, gets a start. Pilecki behind the plate, giving d'Arnaud a little spell. Got really hit pretty hard on that forearm yesterday, elbow forearm area.
That's so far this year. First, second to play all 4.
Right, this year. Right.
Andres Blanco of the Phillies is the other. Here's Jason Kipnis. Kipnis 4 for 9 with 3 doubles in the series. The Indians are playing their 10th game of the year, and unusually this is the 6th left-hand starter they've faced. I mean, what are the odds of that with the dearth of left-hand pitching in the majors? To face a lefty 6 out of 10 games. So Kipnis is seeing a ton of lefties early, and he's just 4 for 18 against left-handers. And the
nice
curveball by Matt strikes out Kipnis for the second out. That's a pitch that we didn't see much from Matz. We saw more sliders in his first start, but he's got a really good curveball.
He's got a great curveball. You can see the tumbling of the ball. A little 1 o'clock to 7 curveball right there on your dial. And don't change the dial, folks. Stay tuned.
Here's Francisco Lindor. The switch hitter has done better as a right-hand batter so far this year, 7 for 17. Just 1 for 8 in this series.
Kind of giving away that changeup, Gary. Slows that motion down. He's got to be careful with that. That's Western Union.
And that's what you guys were talking about during his start on Monday, that with most of his off-speed pitches, he was tipping them with the speed of his delivery.
That's something as a hitter myself over most of my first half of my life.
Curveball strikes out Lindor, so back-to-back strikeouts with the curve for Matz. And after being handed a 3-run lead, he throws up a quick 0 in the bottom of the first. Second inning, 3-0 New York. Alejandro De Aza leads off against Corey Kluber. De Aza 3 for 8 in this series with a double and a home run. Kevin Plawecki on deck, then Curtis Granderson for the Mets in the second. After the Mets put up a 3 spot in the first, Michael Conforto a run scoring double. Lucas Duda brought home 2 with a single.
Well, Kluber got hurt, burned with his fastball in the first inning, gave up 3 runs. Let's see if he's going to have to mix it up.
De Aza takes one foul down the left side.
Very interesting, his setup, Gary, from the windup. Very much like Syndergaard with that. Look at the leg right behind in front. Usually just like Syndergaard, and hardly any step back like Syndergaard.
De Aza pops one into shallow left center. Ramirez coming on. And that's the first out of the inning.
Well, there you go here, and that's pointing towards the third, and just a little, not even, can you call that a step back?
Well, like a tiptoe.
It's like a ballet dance. Very interesting. It doesn't seem like you can get a lot of drive off your back leg.
Well,
but it's a simplistic windup.
He's not as big as Syndergaard. He's still big. He's 6'4", 215.
That's plenty big.
Yeah, he's able to generate enough power out of that simple windup. Kevin Plawecki getting the start today after Travis d'Arnaud got drilled in the elbow and had to come out of the game yesterday. Plawecki will probably play tomorrow as well in Philly. Mets are not calling up any kind of backup because d'Arnaud feels he can play if there's an emergency. And the Mets have plenty of emergency catchers on the roster because Neil Walker was a minor league catcher.
Oh, nice curve right there. That's his big strikeout pitch. That's why he had 245 strikeouts last year. Look at this bite. Not a strike. Got to make those curveballers get it up.
On the outside corner. Dots the fastball for his third strikeout. 2 away. Well, last year 245 strikeouts with a winning percentage of .360. Only 2 other pitchers in history had that many strikeouts with that low winning percentage. One before the 20th century began, and Nolan Ryan, who famously went 8-16 in 1987. I think he might have led the league in ERA that year, didn't Ryan? Or something close to it.
87. He was 8-16 with 270 strikeouts. The other gentleman was back in 1884, Larry McKeon. He went 18-41.
Yeah, that's tough. Granderson out to deep left center, shading his eyes is Davis, and he can't find it, and it bounces against the wall. Granderson heading for third, and he's in standing with a triple. Rajay Davis had trouble finding that ball in left center field, and it landed beyond his reach.
And he's got shades on, and he wasn't even, he was 10 feet from that ball when it bounced. And this is a definite Sunfield. Look at his shadow. And he had no chance on that. And he's doing everything he can do. And he just didn't get it done. Never happened to me. Freebies.
Well, it's the first triple of the year for Granderson. And the Mets hope to cash in the break with Asdrubal Cabrera at the plate. Cabrera had a 2-strike base hit his first time up to help fuel that 3-run inning. By the way, 1987, Nolan Ryan did lead the league in ERA, 2.76 despite that 1-loss record, and led the league in strikeouts. And in an era where 1-loss record was more heavily regarded, finished 5th in the Cy Young balloting that year despite going 8-16.
It's hard to win a Cy Young when you have a record like that.
But you know, back in those days when 1-loss records were more heavily regarded,
right,
it's very unusual to finish that high.
Usually the Cy Young Award winners won 20 games. I think there's a lot of old pitchers of the older generations that were happy they pitched in their time. I don't think they would want to relinquish a start in the 6th, 7th inning.
Beautiful bunt by Cabrera. Kluber with the bare hand play, and he throws it away. A run is in. Cabrera goes to second. A surprise bunt with 2 out by Cabrera, and he couldn't have laid it down any better. He'll get credit for a base hit. Kluber throws it away for an error, and the Mets lead it 4-0.
Well, nice heads-up play by Cabrera. If you can get it done, he put a beautiful bunt down the line. If you'll notice on the throw from Kluber, watch his feet come out from under him. But really a beautiful bunt right down the line. I think caught everybody by surprise. Very seldom do you see a two-out drag bunt. Now watch, he lost a little bit of his footing there. He might have been better off to maybe trying to make the play at home on Granderson.
Keith, the more we watch Asdrubal Cabrera, the more you have to be impressed with just the way he senses the game. He doesn't get rushed. He understands situations. He sees where opportunities are.
Yep.
It's a small sample over the first 3 weeks of the season, but he's been very impressive. There's Michael Conforto taking one low and in for ball 1.
Well, here's the play, and watch Granderson coming in.
Well, the third baseman at Uribe playing so far back.
He didn't even have a play at Granderson. Granderson got such a great jump on the bunt. And remember, Granderson was probably caught by surprise. So good heads up by Grandy.
Conforto pulls one off the bag and down the line, and that'll bring in another run. Cabrera's in to score. Conforto into second with his second double and his second RBI of the day, and the Mets are putting it to Corey Kluber. They've got a 5-0 lead.
Well, Met fans, on this replay, go say hello to your new third hitter for the next, hopefully, 15 years. Right down the line. There he is right there. Look at that. He got a little break there. Ball hit the bag. Otherwise, I think Napoli might have had a chance to make the play.
So the Mets got a break when Rajai Davis lost Granderson's triple in the sun, and they've cashed in 2 runs. And a chance for more with Cespedes at the plate. Cespedes struck out his first time up. And Kluber misses away. Another way, Corey Kluber's velocity down. 2 years ago, he was over 93 with his average fastball. Last year, 92.8. He's down in the 91 range most of the time here. Cespedes just got under that ball. Let's see if Davis can find this one in the sunshine.
Oh, my goodness.
He's struggling, and it lands again. Conforto scores. Cespedes at second. 6-0 New York. Rajai Davis having all sorts of trouble with Mother Nature.
Getting to the point where I think you got to take him out of center field if that's going to be that much of an issue for him. He is hearing it from the fans here.
Well, this one was just a routine fly ball.
I mean, you are a major league player and you've got to make those plays.
Davis is a veteran. He's been around. He's 35 years old. He's played a lot of center field in his career in a lot of different ballparks, and for whatever reason, the sun today in Cleveland has proved to be a mighty enemy.
Wow, that is
that's with 3 gift runs here in the second because of that.
Can't find a hole deep enough.
Ross Detweiler with an early call in the Indians bullpen. Kluber has given up 6 runs and 7 hits. Not all of it his fault. That's a 2 out and nobody on here in the second, but 2 sun-aided extra base hits have fueled another rally. Backdoor breaking ball to Duda for a strike. Duda cashed 2 runs with a base hit his first time up.
Gary, you know, you mentioned how Kluber's velocity has dropped. I think it's a direct correlation to pitchers not throwing enough today and just getting yanked early. I think they can't sustain.
And yet this is a guy who has thrown 235, 222 innings the last couple of years. surprised about Kluber today. He usually throws a lot of cutters. He's not done that early in this game.
Well, he's wearing the black hat right now. If you're an Indian fan, 2 muffed fly balls. This inning should have been long over. No runs.
And Duda takes strike 3 called. Now the inning comes to an end, but the Mets able to cash 3 runs. Got a feel for Rajai Davis. The sun overwhelmed him. Scoring 3 runs in the 2nd inning. Rajai Davis losing 2 balls in the sun. And that, I'm sure, was the main topic of conversation once he got in the dugout.
Well, what do you say to your starting pitcher? God, I'm sorry. Marlon Byrd in there giving him some advice.
Mike Napoli leading off against Steven Matz in the home second. So Matz now with a plethora of runs to work with.
Gives him a chance just to let it throw the fastball, get your rhythm. Matz hasn't had a lot of innings pitched. And there's that changeup again, and I do not like that call. Early in the game, he also slowed his motion down again. Let him throw fastball, curveball. Get him into his rhythm. He needs a lot of innings today.
There's the fastball at 94. Well, he's had a good curveball early in this game. Got strikeouts of Kipnis and Lindor in the 1st inning on the curve. And now he's 2-2 on Napoli. Carlos Santana on deck, then Yan Gomes for Cleveland in the 2nd. And Napoli will fight that one off. Ball running in on his hands. Two coming, and Napoli takes strike 3 call. Fastball got him looking. 3 strikeouts in the first 4 hitters for Steven Matz.
Keep pouring that fastball. Let this kid find his rhythm.
By the way, this is only the 2nd time Kevin Plawecki has ever caught Matz in the big leagues. He caught the first start Steven made coming off the disabled list last September. Johnny Manel actually caught Matz's first 2 major league starts, and Travis d'Arnaud had caught all the other ones, other than that one game last September. Carlos Santana 1 for 5 in the series. Has also drawn 4 walks. He stole a base yesterday. And Rajay Davis is still trying to figure it all out. Grounded down to Duda, fumbles it, and has time to make the play on Santana for the second out. I mean, are there different kinds of sunglasses that guys can try and mitigate situations like that?
I've always, Gary, we just had the flip downs, and they were different shades. Some were darker, medium, and light. I didn't like the darker shade. It was too dark. And the lighter shade, forget it. Start getting watering eyes looking into that sun. The medium I found most effective for me.
And you know, Davis wears the wraparounds, and I know just from the limited amount of experience that I had as a kid wearing flip downs that they were much more effective than wearing sunglasses all the time.
I agree.
As far as, you know, darkening your eyes when you need to, when you have to look up at the
exactly, because then you're used to the light, and then when you flip them down, it really puts a din over it, and the glare decreases.
Ripped into center field, a base hit for Yan Gomes, the first Indians base runner of the day. So Matson retired the first 5, a 2-out single for Gomes.
It's all right, 6-run lead. They're getting paid for a living too. You know, they're paid to hit. Can't go out there and throw a no-no every time.
One time in 8,000 some games. Here's Marlon Byrd, 2 for 5 in this series, and he takes up and away from that. Speaking of which, I hear that Johan Santana is still trying to make a comeback.
It's hard to give up the ghost. You love the game. It's hard to get out of uniform. You know, if you think you can still play, and it's tough to come to the realization, and we all do. Everybody will when you can't play anymore. You got to give it up. I'm not saying he shan't. That it's Johan's time yet, but everybody there's no senior league in baseball, just like there's no crying in baseball.
There was once a senior league in baseball. Remember that?
Yes,
they had the senior league down in Florida.
Yeah, it didn't work.
You never attempted to play.
No. I had the back.
Nats falls behind on Bird, 3-0.
I wouldn't have played anyway if I was healthy. For me, it's only golf and tennis. It's nice to see McEnroe still playing, you know.
Don't forget bocce. There's a strike, 3-1. Hey, guys play bocce into their 90s.
Bocce ball.
Bocce?
Yeah, my grandfather used to. My Spanish grandfather played bocce ball on weekends in San Francisco during the Depression.
There's a strike, 3-2. Well, bocce's big in New York. I mean, you get some of the old neighborhoods. On a Sunday, it's a perfect day for rolling a little bocce.
I'd rather play shuffleboard.
Well, there you go. Another game you can play well into your dotage. Gomes will run, and the 3-2 is outside the Bird, and the Indians have 2 men on.
Just missed with that fastball. I like that. Just on the knees, outside, just a hair.
So a 2-out single and a walk. And now Juan Uribe, who's had a really good series against the team that declined to re-sign him. Uribe 4 for 6 in this series. Follow Mets Baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Matz picked off the outside corner.
Much better performance from Matz today. Throwing hard. He's got a great arm. throwing strikes.
Well, you know how much the last 5 days have eaten at him after that foreshortened debut on Monday. Jams Uribe.
It's a long 5 days in between starts when you can't get out of the second inning.
And he also knows how much pressure he put on the rest of the pitching staff by getting knocked out early. It really knocked the Mets bullpen into a tizzy for the rest of the week.
Also, he himself, Steven, all the highly touted starting rotation, and to have such a horrific opening season start. It happens to all of them. For the best of them.
1-2 coming. The curveball bounced toward the hole. Flores bobbles, grabs, and makes the play to end the inning. Now that came up nicely for Flores after it bounced off his glove right into his bare hand. And that gets Mats through the second. 6-0 New York. Mets have put up a pair of threes to start the afternoon, and Neil Walker will lead off the third. Walker struck out his first time up.
Interesting what Terry Collins said in his pregame meeting with us in his office.
Scorched on the ground right to Kipnis. One pitch and one out.
And I'll be brief since he first pitch swinging 4-3 on your scorecard. He told Terry that Clint Hurdle would never let him hit stardom against a tough right-hander, a left-hander, and would pinch hit for him a lot. He goes, Terry's giving him the opportunity, and he said he feels, as a result, a confidence boost coming from your manager, and I feel great at the plate right-handed.
He's also made a little mechanical adjustment right-handed, which seems to have paid off. Walker 5 for 9 as a right-hand batter so far this year, including his first home run batting right-handed in 2 seasons. There's that cutter from Kluber. 1-1 to Flores. Wilmer popped up his first time up, getting his 3rd start of the year. Looked really good playing first base the other day, Keith.
Sure did.
Caught that.
I ran up to him. I saw the 3-6. Was it a 3-6-3 double play?
Uh-huh.
I went up to Wilmer and I said, Wilmer, first base is easy, isn't it? He goes, no.
Pop foul that'll come back out of play. By the way, the pop foul that Yan Gomes failed to catch during the Cespedes bat in the first inning, they've now taken away the error, which I guess was a result of Rajai Davis missing the 2 fly balls. They figured that maybe the sun was a factor for Gomes as well, although it didn't appear to be.
Serious home book.
Yeah,
that's what that is.
Probably got a call from the dugout. complaining.
You know, I never complain. I never would get on the phone and call up to the press booth. I had a few guys that did that in my day.
Curveball from Kluber for his 5th strikeout as he gets Flores. Well, you know the Bobby Bonilla story, right?
Yes, I kind of remember. There's a nice curve right here, Garrett, in a great spot. That's his strikeout pitch.
Mets were enduring a 7-run first inning against the Cubs at Shea Stadium. And in the course of the inning, Bonilla was charged with an error. And when he got back to the dugout before the Mets came to bat in the bottom of the 1st, having already given up 7 runs, he called the press box to complain about the error call.
That's for something, you know, the scorekeeper was always Red Foley, who I liked very much when I was with the Mets. And you just needle them when they come. Red would always come in the clubhouse with that cigar. That would be banned today.
Yes, it would.
And you would just needle him. I would always needle him about, you know, he didn't believe in a home book or giving you a hit. So I'd go, Red, come on, I'm not going to get those hits on the road because I don't know such thing as a home book, Keith.
Hey, if I know Red, he gave as good as he got. He's not going to take your stuff.
No. We wound up having fun and laughing and having fun with it. I liked him. He was a good guy.
De Aza fly to left his first time up. And he goes down swinging on the curveball from Kluber, and that was a wipeout pitch to end the inning. 6 strikeouts for Kluber, but the Mets have a 6-0 lead. Nothing. Corey Kluber with 6 strikeouts. This was the last one with his great curveball.
Down and in, hard to lay off, not a strike. There's the grips, Garrett, and you can see a lot more ball exposed. Matz is on the left, of course, the blue, and the red, of course, is Kluber. But Kluber, a lot more ball showing, more on the fingertips, and that maybe has a lot to do with maybe Matz is, you know, taller, he's 6'4", he's got bigger hands, longer fingers.
Matz had a good curveball early in this game, as has Kluber. And the Mets have the upper hand because they were able to get to Kluber's fastball. Jose Ramirez leading off in the home 3rd, batting 9th and playing left field. There's the fastball from Matz for a strike, and it's 0-2. Ramirez 2 for 7 in this series. Well, Matz has already gone deeper into this game than he went in his first start. And there's another curveball and a nice easy hop for Cabrera. Throws out Ramirez, 1 away. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs, whose report today is brought to you by Memorial Sloan Kettering. Steve?
Gary, here at Progressive Field, the Indians do a really nice job recognizing their extensive 100-plus year history, even the not-so-pleasant memories like the one back in 1920. Ray Chapman of the Indians was actually the first and only player to ever be killed in an on-field incident. Carl Mays of the New York Yankees hit him in the head with a pitch at the Polo Grounds, and they have a nice plaque memorializing Ray Chapman as Davis pushes this bunt down first, and Matz unable to make the play. So Davis on with the bunt single. But Ray Chapman memorialized here in Heritage Park for what happened to him, and obviously it's a horrible thing that happened, but there are a lot of things in the game today that have come out of that incident that you may recognize. First of all, the spitball was outlawed after that incident. Carl Mays was a known spitball pitcher, and they thought that could have something to do with the pitch losing control and hitting Mays in the head. But the other aspect is that you see nowadays all these new baseballs getting thrown onto the field at all times. They keep changing things up. Back in 1920, that did not happen. They used the baseball until they lost it. And what often happened in those situations is the ball would get scuffed up, discolored, and they thought that there was a potential that Chapman did not see the pitch because of the shadows and the discoloration of the ball, so that is when they started introducing in baseball the new baseballs that were white, which we still see today.
Very interesting story there, Steve. I was not aware of that. I mean, Charlie Finney, if you recalled, wanted to have yellow baseballs where the horsehide was with the red striped stitches, and everybody said no, it's white because the hitter's got to be able to read the stitches on the ball.
Well, the thing that confuses me is that it took many more decades for any kind of protection to be introduced for hitters. I mean, in those days, there were no batting helmets. Players wore caps to the plate, and it wasn't really till the 50s that players started using the inserts, and then teams started slowly introducing batting helmets. But you would have thought after a man was killed by a pitch in a Major League Baseball game that the next step would have been to introduce some kind of protective gear, and it wasn't for many decades after until they did.
And think of all the years that the goalies in hockey play without a mask. I mean, come on. I couldn't imagine that.
Meanwhile, Rajai Davis safe by an eyelash on a play at first base.
Nice play by Matz here. A good feed. And he just did beat it. It's tough for Lucas there to stretch when a pitcher's so close to you.
Double play ball. Cabrera with the step and fire for the 6-6-3 double play, and that negates the bunt hit. Another good inning for Steven Matz. 3 scoreless and a 6-0 Mets lead after 3. Fourth inning, Kevin Plawecki leads off against Corey Kluber. That's with a 6-0 lead. Plawecki, one of the 6 strikeout victims for Kluber in the first 3 innings. There's no shame in being struck out by Corey Kluber, who last year struck out 18 in a game against the Cardinals. That's drilled toward the wall in left field, and it's off the fence. Plawecki's going to have to settle for a single, as Ramirez, who threw out David Wright in a similar play yesterday, gets it back in quickly.
Well, that ball was scalded, and all you guys, wherever you are on the computers, what's the exit velocity on this one? This was a rocket. You got nothing else to do, bring us the exit velocity.
By the way, that's 2 home runs the Mets would have had with a lower fence in left field. It's 19 feet high out there.
David Wright, of course, was the other one.
Goes all the way from the left field corner all the way almost to dead center field.
That ball was ripped.
So the Mets had their 8th hit. Sun was not a factor on that one. Granderson hit one up in the sun and left center that Rajai Davis lost for a triple that got a 3-run 2-out rally going in the second. One of 2 balls that Davis lost in the sun. Granderson went around on the changeup, 1-2.
The shift on Granderson.
Asdrubal Cabrera waiting on deck. 2-2.
So if you're going to do that, if I'm hitting and they're going to play this defense on me, they better pitch me in, Garrett. Not out over the plate or away.
I don't think they'd play this defense against you because you were more of an all-field hitter.
Agreed. As a gap-to-gap hitter, I would have defended me by just playing straight up on the infield and moving the third baseman way off the line, take my hole away from me, and then gap me in the outfield.
3-2 with nobody out. Plawecki's running. Granderson hits it in the air to left center. Ramirez sees it and catches it.
And Davis is happy it was the left field.
I'm not sure that Davis saw that one.
Oh, man.
1 out and 1 on. 4th inning brought to you by the 2017 Audi A4 and your tri-state Audi dealers. Well, here is Cabrera, who's 2 for 2, had a base hit and scored a run in the first, and then the second with a runner at third and 2 out, laid down a surprise bunt that went for a hit to drive in a run and scored again. Asdrubal Cabrera, who started out his career here in the Indians, played 7 years in a Cleveland uniform. In fact, there are only 2 shortstops who've played more games in this stadium than Asdrubal Cabrera. This is his 373rd game at shortstop in this ballpark. Only Johnny Peralta, who's just a few games ahead of Cabrera, and Asdrubal Cabrera's boyhood idol, Omar Vizquel, have played in more games as a shortstop at Progressive Field. And in fact, the reason Asdrubal wears number 13 is for Omar Vizquel.
Omar Vizquel was one of the fine shortstops in the history of the game.
Hall of Famer?
I've got to look at his numbers, Garrett.
My feeling is if Ozzie Smith is a Hall of Famer, which I believe he legitimately earned, then so is Omar Vizquel, because they're very similar players.
You know what my feeling is? If Pee Wee Reese and Phil Rizzuto were in the Hall of Fame, Vizquel's in the Hall of Fame.
Vizquel was just a magician with the glove and became a very good hitter. One of those very powerful Indians teams back in the 90s. And played until he was, what, 44? When he finally retired. There's the good curveball by Kluber to strike out Cabrera. That's 7 now for Kluber, 2 out of the inning.
You can see that when he throws that good curveball down and in the left-hand hitters, he makes them look bad. Just not a good cut at the ball. And it's just too bad he's given up 6 runs. If you're a Met fan, hallelujah. He let the horses out of the barn.
By the way, just getting back to Cabrera wearing number 13. 13 became the number of choice for infielders from Venezuela, starting with David Concepcion. He wore number 13, and then everybody who followed. Ricardo Alfonso wore 13. Who was the Pirates? Is that
what year?
Jose Lind?
Oh, okay, Jose Lind, yes.
Wore 13.
He could jump. He played second base primarily, though, for the Pirates.
Right.
In our era, my tenure.
Ozzie Guillen wore 13. Just it is such a popular number because Concepcion started that whole thing when he played for the Big Red Machine in the 70s.
I am superstitious. It's an unlucky number. I wouldn't go 10 yards close to it.
Michael Conforto's already had a big day, a pair of doubles. He hit the first one off the fence in right center, and the second one they clipped the first base bag and went down the line. He's scored 2. He's driven in 2. So he has had a very comfortable series in the 3 spot in the batting order. In the air to left field, chasing Ramirez back to the warning track, right at the wall to make the catch. Conforto trying to take one the other way, and Ramirez able to make the play and retire Conforto for the first time today. Still 6-0 New York. In Cleveland, where the weather has been beautiful.
It sure has.
The entire time we've been here. And some things you may not know about Cleveland. You probably know it's the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but did you know 2 Clevelanders invented Superman?
Yep.
Did you know that they haven't won a sports title here since the '64 Browns? And this is where the red light began.
Really? No, I wouldn't say that. 1914, red light for automobiles.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I know where you were going. You were going right to Amsterdam. Francisco Lindor takes inside. Well, Steven Matz has turned in 3 solid innings. He's allowed 2 hits, 1 walk, struck out 3, struck out Lindor his first time up.
Also, I believe Lake Erie has, when they have the storms, all the ships that are lost on Lake Erie, of all the Great Lakes, I think Lake Erie is the shallowest of all the Great Lakes. Yes, because the shallower the body of water, the waves are much bigger in a storm.
Really?
Yes. You have to be careful in the Mediterranean too.
Is the shallowness of Lake Erie what caused it to catch on fire in the 1960s?
And I don't think so. I think they corrected that problem.
Yes, I believe it's a little cleaner now than it was then.
Well, you know, Pittsburgh was a real dirty town because of steel mills in the 70s. And look at it now. It is just pristine and a nice place to go.
No more steel mills. There actually is a steel mill here in Cleveland still, whereas they're all shut down now in Pittsburgh. I'm told it wasn't Lake Erie. It was the Cuyahoga River that caught fire.
Right. Okay. Right. It was the river.
Adjacent. 3-2 to Lindor, and he lines one into right center for a base hit. Granderson cuts it off deep. Lindor trying for two, and he makes it safely. Second hit of the series for Francisco Lindor.
Nice hitting. I always love to see guys use the opposite field gap. Fastball away. Went right with it. Belt high. Got it up. Got it up. Good hitting. Look at that beautiful level swing, driving right through the ball and into the gap. Nicely cut off by Curtis.
Lindor is going to be one of the stars of the American League for years to come. Just 22 years old. Terrific fielder. He's shown more power than they expected. Hit over 300 as a rookie last year. Napoli took a call third strike his first time up. Steven Matz, in his very brief career last year, had remarkable success with men on base, not so much his first start of the year. I think you can, as Keith said, crumple it up and throw it in the garbage.
It's nice to see him rebound here, even though we're only in the fourth, just starting the fourth.
Napoli takes a big rip. Boy, he doesn't get cheated, does he?
No.
Well, 2011 was his big year in Texas when he was part of that World Series run for the Rangers.
Seems like Texas and Toronto is where everybody goes to gain power.
Started out his career as a catcher with the Angels. Well, Texas, then to Boston, and now in Cleveland.
By the look at his physique, he looks like a catcher, doesn't he?
Well, remember, he had to battle for playing time there with Jeff Mathis, playing for Mike Scioscia. Napoli was the offensive catcher, and Mathis was the defensive catcher. And they're both still going. Backdoor curveball misses 2-2 to Napoli with Carlos Santana on deck. Milwaukee sets up inside, and Matz misses a little low. Full count. Second straight full count to start the inning for Matz. He's walked one and struck out three, allowed 3 hits. Lindor at second and nobody out. And Napoli pops it up. Should be playable for Duda. And Lucas stays with it and makes the grab. No sunglasses.
Yes, and he should have them on. And he's got to have to battle that sun the whole way.
What would possess a player on a day like today to take the field without sunglasses?
I don't know. Gary, unless it was heavily overcast on a day game, I always wore sunglasses because you never know in the middle of the inning a sun might pop out. You know, it just might happen.
But I mean, today, you know, there's not a cloud to be seen anywhere. You would think that it would be a no-brainer. Carlos Santana takes a strike. Santana grounded out to Duda his first time up. is 2 for 16 as a right-hand batter so far this year. One of 3 switch hitters in the lineup for the Indians today. John Adams has his big drum going. To the right side, Duda fields this one, and Matz covers nicely for the second out as Lindor takes third. Get to Citi Field for Family Sunday, May 1st. Mets take on the Giants at 1:10. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a pair of Curtis Granderson baseball socks, courtesy of East Coast Power and Gas. Plus, all kids can run the bases after the game in the Mets Mr. Med Dash, presented by Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Family Sundays. Do they look like that? Or do they look more like the socks that Keith was wearing during the last homestand?
Oh, the Met socks. They're very warm. We don't need them in this booth. This booth is warm. No comment, Gare?
I've always loved this ballpark and our working facilities here. Got a nice big open booth. Got heat above us.
I like our vantage point
Right.
here. It's
Great
a beautiful vantage point. We're close. We're close to the field.
Here we are.
And not too high up. This is baseball, okay? A good day like this, I think that every weekend, I know we got night games and games are televised. There we are.
Hello.
It's just in April when the weather's chilly, play Saturday day games and Sunday.
Well, we sort of played a Saturday day game yesterday, 4 o'clock.
Yeah, but
At least it was still light.
this is directed towards Citi Field. We don't have. We have. Like I haven't got. There's not one day Saturday games scheduled this season. I don't understand that.
Strike 3 called. Gomes is caught looking. That's 4 strikeouts for Matz, who works around the leadoff double and puts up another 0. The Mets fans have made their way to Cleveland.
Yeah, there are a lot of Met fans.
I don't know what that sign says, whether it says perennial something nice or perennial something not so nice.
Oh, I'm sure it's nice.
Well, I'm just glad that we haven't found out, because you just never know. Yoenis Cespedes leads off the 5th and fouls off the cutter. Oh, it says All-Stars. See, you were right. It's a friendly.
can I tell you?
Cespedes hit a fly ball to center field that Rajai Davis lost in the sun. Tommy preferred that one before. He got a double out of it, and the Mets got another run. 2 balls that Davis did not catch because of problems with the sun in that second inning. Looks like he's gone to a different pair of sunglasses. And Cespedes badly fooled on the breaking ball by Kluber. That's 8 strikeouts for Corey Kluber. 1 down in the 5th, and let's go inside baseball with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, in a season where we're seeing a couple of the Mets starters struggle to regain their form after pitching so many more innings than they did a year ago than they ever had in the past, the Cubs don't seem to be having that issue with Jake Arrieta, who looks like his Cy Young self. Yesterday, his first start of the season at Wrigley Field, he continued his domination in the friendly confines. 8 shutout innings against the Colorado Rockies, upping his scoreless streak in Wrigley to 48 2/3 consecutive innings. He has not given up a regular season run there since July 25th. It's the longest home streak in the MLB since Ray Herbert pitched 54 scoreless for the White Sox in 62 and 63.
And Wrigley Field often is a pitcher's park, but sometimes is a great hitter's park, and through all of that, Arrieta has continued to put up zeros. He has just been spectacular.
Well, they said the last game that he got beat.
Duda gets into one deep to right center field. Bird shading his eyes as he goes, and over comes Davis to bail him out. Hey, you just never know how it's going to go. Marlon Bird lost it in the sun, and Davis, who had lost 2 earlier, was able to find it.
Wow. That's funny. He got called off too, and I bet you he was thankful. He was not even near the ball. Different angle right there, you know. You're running away from the sun.
I just don't understand why today is such a particularly tough day for these outfielders to see the ball. You see that happen once in a while. You rarely see it multiple times in the same game.
And this is their home field too. You know, if the Mets were here, you know, they're unfamiliar with Progressive Field. They haven't been here in a long while, American League, but they play here 81 games.
1 and 2 to walk.
Well, a lot of times now the clubs today do not hit on day games, and you got to go out at some point, get some fly balls, and find out where the sun is. It's usually up there.
It doesn't go away. Sometimes it hides, but usually during the daytime, it's right up there. Little round ball, kind of yellow. 1-2-3 inning for Kluber, still 6-0. Steven Matz and the Mets with a 6-0 lead. Marlon Byrd will lead off for the Indians. Matz worked around to lead off double in the 4th. Now he faces the lower third of the Indians batting order. Byrd walked his first time up. And Marlon takes a curveball for a strike.
Well, we didn't want to say this prior to the game to give any of you Met fans any high anxiety. But Terry Collins, before the game in his office, said if Matz has another outing where he gets knocked out quick, because our bullpen's in big trouble. And Matz so far has delivered 4 sparkling innings.
Well, there's strike 3 called to Byrd as he goes down looking on the fastball. 5 strikeouts now for Matz. Well, this is where Matt Harvey began to falter yesterday. Matt was, well, he was perfect through the first 4 innings, and then all of a sudden he had trouble in the 5th. And Dan Warthen made some comments after the game about Matt's mechanics out of the stretch, and how when he was pitching out of the windup everything was fine, but once the base runners started coming, all of a sudden everything broke down.
Well, what I saw yesterday from Matt, and I don't know anything about mechanics, and I texted Ron and asked Ron's opinion, and you saw Ron's opinion, and he agreed with Dan Warthen and collapsing his backside. Ronnie's certainly more in tune to those fundamentals of pitching than myself, but rushing the ball, muscling up instead of being relaxed, that's all part of pressing. Then I think he just got tired. I really do think he got tired in the 6th inning.
Well, that's we'll talk to Ronnie about this tomorrow when he joins us in Philadelphia. But you know, Ronnie believes, and you know, I think it makes a lot of sense that the Mets, in a bid to try to protect their pitchers after their heavy workloads last year, may not have given them quite enough work in spring training. As Walker throws out Uribe for the 2nd out. Let's hear what Dan Warthen had to say about Harvey and his struggles yesterday.
It's been out of the stretch, and that's been our biggest issue right now. He collapses the backside and ends up muscling the baseball. You know, out of the windup, he's been very good all year. So right now we're struggling with a little mechanical issue with him out of the stretch, and hopefully we can get out of that pretty quickly. It's there and then it's not there. It's there and it's not there. But that's the same with the velocity right now. Where, you know, I've seen Matt. I see his good velocity. I saw it early in spring. I thought, you know, he was going to have a big year. I still think he's going to have a big year. I think right now, you know, if we've ever seen Matt Harvey press, this might be the time.
When he said it's there and it's not there, he was talking about Matt's slider, which has been a real work in progress.
It's been inconsistent, and you know, he had a good overhead curveball yesterday, excuse me, and he didn't use it. And he was basically a 2-pitch pitcher throwing. I mean, I've never saw him throw like 75% fastballs. And we had the gun on him at around 91, 95. I just saw Terry Kennedy was scouting for the Cubs in the press room. Former Cardinal teammate, catcher for the Padres and the Cardinals. He's scouting, and he said he had Harvey at 96. 96 is plenty. But the inconsistency is what's been happening with Matt.
2-out walk to Jose Ramirez. 2nd walk given up by Steven Matz.
So that's what bullpen sessions are for. The sides are for, and that's why the most important coach on a coaching staff outside of the manager is the pitching coach.
Oh, Matt Harvey's next start will probably be Friday night in Atlanta when the Mets open that series. There's a good fastball by Matz, throwing it by Rajai Davis. Davis had a bunt base hit in the 3rd inning. He's 1 for 2. So if his start is Friday, his bullpen session will probably be Tuesday. And the Mets are in Philly. By the way, the Mets are facing the same 3 pitchers in Philadelphia that they faced at Citi Field when they played the Phillies. They get Jared Eichhoff tomorrow night, Vince Velasquez, who's been unbelievable through his first 2 starts, Tuesday, and Jeremy Hellickson Wednesday. Matz makes quick work of Rajai Davis. Strikeout number 6 for Matz. We're through 5 with the Mets up 6-0. Open their series at Citizens Bank Park against the Phillies with Noah Syndergaard on the mound. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. Corey Kluber has settled in nicely in the last 3 innings, but the Mets scored 6 runs in the first 2 innings, and that has stood up with Steven Matz pitching a gem. Hosts Juan Uribe throws out Wilmer Flores, 1 pitch and 1 out in the 6th. There's your city probables for the series in Philadelphia. Syndergaard, Verrett making his 2nd start. First one was very good. And Cologne going for the Mets the next 3 nights. Kluber's retired 11 of the last 12, and now he'll face Alejandro De Aza, who's flied out and struck out. Mets 6 runs, 8 hits. The Indians no runs, 3 hits. Mets got 3 in the first before the crowd could even settle in. Michael Conforto an RBI double. Lucas Duda a 2-run single, and then the Sun bedeviled the Indians in the 2nd, and the Mets scored 3 more.
Piazza off to a 3 for 17 start. All 3 hits came in the first game of this series.
This is the last DH game the Mets are going to play for a long time.
Good. When do they play the Yankees?
It's not until August. Their next DH game will be August 3rd.
Detroit?
Well, they play 2 in Yankee Stadium, then 3 in Detroit, so 5 straight games in the American League parks. But it's wild that they've played 5 of them already. The 2 in Kansas City and now the 3 here. So that means Yoenis Cespedes will be back in the outfield tomorrow. Terry Collins said before the game Cespedes could have played the outfield today, despite the bruise on his leg. A laced line drive right at Ramirez, so De Aza hit it hard, but he's retired for the 2nd out. Let's check in with the studio. Game break with Doug Williams. That's off to a 9-1 start, the best in the history of the franchise, going all the way back to the Expos days. Here's Plawecki, who had the last Mets base hit, a single to left in the 4th, and Kluber dusts him off. Plawecki hit a bolt off the fence in left field, hit it so hard that he had no choice but to stop it first. And he hits another ball hard up the middle for a base hit. So Kevin Plawecki with 2 very hard hit balls is 2 for 2.
Nice to see here off a very tough pitcher who's kind of in a groove. Fastball away. Almost got his foot.
So Plawecki, who had that game-winning hit in the last game of the homestand, a 2-hit game today. And now Granderson, who's walked and hit that Sun-aided triple back in the 2nd. 1 for 2. He scored 2 runs. Kluber up over 90 pitches on the afternoon, and the Indians have their bullpen working. They had the bullpen up in the 2nd inning today, with Kluber struggling early, but he's gotten them to the 6th.
Interesting how they got the big shift on Granderson, which I understand that, but with 2 outs, we saw Cabrera put a drag bunt down. But look at Uribe playing real in on the cut of the grass.
They've been playing him there against Granderson until 2 strikes, and then they'll move Uribe back into the shortstop.
Right, because 2 strikes you're not going to bunt.
Although I can't imagine Curtis would bunt with 2 out and a runner at first.
Right.
It was different with Cabrera. There was a runner at 3rd, and he was able to bring a run in.
That's my point. It's just why is he in? I just move back with the pitch.
Grounded into the shift, and Kipnis has got it. Throws out Granderson to end the inning. So Kluber makes his way through 6 innings, but the Mets and Steven Matz with a 6-0 lead. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By Cadillac, visit tristatecadillac.com for exceptional offers. And by Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. Steven Matz, 5 scoreless innings under his belt. Eric Campbell warming him up, and a little bit of a whiff. That's why he's merely an emergency catcher. Jason Kipnis takes a curveball up in as we start the bottom of the 6th. Fortunately for the Mets, if they need an emergency catcher, they've got a guy who at least has caught professionally in Neil Walker, who started out his minor league career as a catcher.
Three straight breaking balls to the left-hand hitting Kipnis.
And he gets him. Changeup from Matz to strike out Kipnis, his 7th strikeout of the day.
Guys, talking about d'Arnaud, it definitely will be a couple of days. He was really sore after the game yesterday. When we were meeting with him after the game, he actually couldn't even button his shirt with both hands because he couldn't move that left arm, bend it in forward. So probably going to be a little while here.
Terry said he'd almost certainly not play tomorrow in Philadelphia. We'll see after that. That's throwing a lot of first pitch curveballs now, second and third time through the batting order.
And he's throwing the slow curve, Garrett, and he's slowing his motion down a little bit. Snap that curve off.
Lindor drives another one, but this one right at Walker for the 2nd out. So Lindor, who drilled a double to right center his last time up, this time lines one right to Neil Walker. Let's look at today's Verizon trivia question. 3 men played at least 200 games for the Indians and the Mets.
I know one. Hall of Famer. 3,000 hits he got right here.
And another guy who played the same position also.
I got to think on that one.
Switch hitter. Another switch hitter. Here's Mike Napoli. They're both switch hitters.
Right. Both are.
Awesome.
One, probably one of the greatest switch hitters of all time.
Also Robles, first man up in the Mets bullpen. Matt's at 80 pitches. Hard to believe he'll go past 90 today after throwing just 59 in his first start. Little fly ball to shallow right, and Granderson has it lined up.
Nice.
And that retires the side. 1-2-3 inning for Steven Matz. Only his second 1-2-3 inning of the day. He's got 6 scoreless under his belt and a 6-run lead.
He's been in the infield with luminaries like Ron Washington, but at least this year, Jacoby gets to throw the ball to a bona fide pro named Keith Hernandez.
His leadership on the field was evident when he was with the Mets. So, you know, he can get us going and get us fired up. That's going to rub off to everybody and, you know, get us all fired up.
That, my friends, is today's timeless moment, brought to you by Coors Banquet. I have to say, you looked awfully good in the uniform.
The best laid plans of mice and men. Boy, I was finished there. I tore my calf. Look at this. I was finished. I thought I could play.
Look how trim you were.
Yeah. Hank Peters called me and said I wasn't in shape after the season was over. I wanted to strangle him. On to another topic, please. Ross Detweiler. Perfect. Great segue out of there.
Detweiler makes his second appearance in the series. Gave up a home run to Neil Walker on Friday night. Faces Cabrera leading off in the 7th.
Well, you remember I broke the kneecap '89, the year prior, coming to Cleveland, and against the Dodgers, breaking up a double play. And I missed I missed 10 weeks.
Dave Anderson?
All 165 pounds of him. And he was fine. I break my kneecap, my patella. And I never was able to come. I missed 10 weeks, and I never was able to. Came back in August when it was hot, and I was just exhausted. I was 36, and they didn't re-sign me. I came over here, and I got to believe it was my right patella that I came here, and I tore immediately my left calf. I think I was probably favoring the knee and overloading the other side, and that calf never healed. Never healed. I came back after 3 weeks. The second game in Oakland, I hit a fly ball. No, I was on first base. One of the few times I got on base in an Indian uniform. And it was 2 outs. I was rounding second base, just going 3/4. And it tore it halfway to third. Again, 6 weeks. And then I came back and tore it again, and that was it. I said, I went to John McNamara. I said, John, you had all those young players coming up. Baerga was there, Sandy Alomar Jr., all the young kids, Albert Bell, who I got along with great. I liked Albert. And I just told John, I said, you need to play the young kids. I can't play anymore. And I forget who was the first baseman that backed me up? Jeff, he wound up being your hitting coach in Cleveland. I'm talking to the guys. No, Jeff something. I might have the name wrong. But anyway. Manto.
Yeah.
He was a pretty good hitter. And I said, play Manto. He's a young kid. Let him hit. Well, I'm done.
You know what they used to call Jeff Manto?
What?
Mickey.
Because?
Mickey Manto.
Oh.
Cabrera down on strikes for the first out of the 7th. Well, I go back to the video we just showed, and I'm thinking how disappointed Brooks Jacoby must have been not to be able to play with you on a regular
Jacoby
basis.
was one of the good guys in that team. There's a lot of good guys.
Lagares batting for Conforto. He's going to come in for defense anyway, and with a left-hander in the game, he'll take the at-bat after Conforto had himself a terrific day at the plate.
Now, normally I would say let Conforto hit here, but Lagares has had such little playing time.
Well, the Mets have faced virtually no left-handed pitching.
And Conforto's had 3 really terrific at-bats today. But anyway, we had Corey Snyder in right field.
Great arm.
Gosh, I'm just losing. I had it all. Bud Black was one on our starting staff. Candiotti, the knuckleballer.
Is this 91 you're talking about?
90.
90.
So it was the up and coming of the team that was going to be in the World Series in a few years. A lot of young talent.
77 and 85 that year.
Oh, we didn't lose 90. They had 110 at bats. El Stinkowski.
Under 30. Under 30 at bats, you hit an even 200.
Oh, I got to hit the last at bat
to get
me off the interstate.
Oh,
gee,
wow, that's rough.
I stunk it up.
Let's see. You had Jerry Brown.
Yes, Jerry's a good player.
Felix Fermin playing shortstop.
Yes.
Candy Maldonado.
Yes, Candy.
Ronnie's least favorite player.
Candy Maldonado had
no hitters.
Candy played left field, had a very good year that year.
At 273, 22
Who
home
played
runs.
center?
Mitch Webster was in center.
Yeah, I liked
switch hitter. Chris James was on that team.
Yes, Chris had a good year too. So, you know, Dan Olin was there in the bullpen.
Get Carlos Baerga at age 21 had 300 at bats.
Yes, it was the up and coming team, and I think that's probably why they took a chance with me, is with the young talent coming up. They knew what they had here. So
Greg Swindell.
Yes, he was in the lefty, big Tex.
And John Farrell.
Yes, John Farrell, another great guy. It was a good group. I just couldn't play anymore. I was done. Don't feel sorry for me here.
No crying in baseball.
But you can if you want.
Here's the answer to the Verizon trivia question. The three all switch hitters, right? Murray, Alomar, Baerga.
Yeah.
You were talking about Murray. I was talking about Alomar.
Yeah,
so
Murray's the came to mind.
Both Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Lagares down on strikes, so back-to-back strikeouts for Detweiler to start the seventh. Check out SNY.TV for up-to-the-minute news from the Rangers and the Islanders as they continue their playoff runs on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Here is Cespedes, 1 for 3 on the day, a Sun-aided double to drive in a run. Detweiler looking a lot sharper than he was on Friday night. Gets ahead 0-1. Duane Cespedes now in his 5th big league season. Made his debut with Oakland back in 2012.
Surprisingly well traveled. 4 teams. Metzger's 4th team.
His first hit off Felix Hernandez, who scuffled yesterday but got another win at Yankee Stadium where he always seems to win.
What's his record now? You know, top of your head?
I don't, but his ERA is in the low 1s.
Yeah. Well, he's good.
But he walked 6 batters in 5 innings yesterday and only gave up 1 run.
Oh, jeez.
Goose that a little bit. 2-2 to Cespedes.
It's like Hank Greenwald's basketball call. 20-foot jumper goes 15. Whatever happens, Hank? He's still alive?
He's retired, yeah.
Yeah, he was a good guy. Liked him.
Announcer for the Giants.
Giants,
and briefly for the Yankees.
Well, when I was a kid growing up here, NBA was in its heyday in the 60s with Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, the Guy Rogers. Wilt was the Chamberlain was the center for the Warriors, and I loved basketball and watching. And Hank Greenwald was the voice, the TV voice of the Warriors.
And Bill King
was the radio.
Yep. Another great announcer.
That was back in the days when the Warriors played in San Francisco at the old Civic Center downtown, which is now the convention center area, the Moscone Center.
They were the San Francisco Warriors.
Yes, and they are going to be hopefully that again. They are building that arena right next to, was it still AT&T Park? The Giants Park?
Yeah.
Yep. They're building it just at the pier south. They're building. It's going to be a beautiful complex.
Warriors have much of a team these days? Cespedes draws a 2-out walk. I heard they might be having a good year, the Warriors.
Oh, you think? Yeah, Steph Curry got hurt.
Yeah, he hurt his ankle yesterday.
He'll be all right. May not play Monday.
Here's Duda, who had a 2-run single in the first inning that made it a 3-0 game. Since then, he struck out and flied out, 1 for 3. Cespedes at first with 2 out. And Lucas takes a strike. So what do we think? Is Matt's going to get another inning? 82 pitches.
Yes, of course. Run him out there. That bullpen needs to catch its breath. It's like Wile E. Coyote out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking they might be extra cautious.
I'm tired of the extra caution with the pitchers. Through with it.
1-1 to Duda. It's one weakly down to first. Napoli blocks it and makes the play for the third out. A walk and one left. It's almost tip time at the arena across the way for the Cavs. Stretch. A beautiful Sunday afternoon in Cleveland. Lots of kids in the ballpark. A lot of hanging around, signing autographs. And things have gone quite swimmingly for the Mets on a Sunday afternoon in Cleveland.
The Mustard won the race.
Oh, yeah? Beat out the Onion?
Yep.
That scored 3 in the first, 3 in the second. Steven Matz has done the rest. Matz in his second start of the year has erased all memory of the first one. And the Met fans in attendance here in Cleveland, and there have been many of them, have loved every minute of it.
And it has been a godsend sent to the bullpen. This performance right here by Matz.
People's United Bank brings you today's starters. Matz with 6 scoreless innings. Corey Kluber gave up 3 in the first, 3 in the second. Settled in from there, but too little too late, despite his 8 strikeouts. And Matz will be allowed to pitch into the 7th inning.
Good. Stretch him out. That's what spring training's for.
Alejandro De Aza moves from center field to left field.
Not April.
Juan Lagares stays in to play center after pinch hitting for Conforto. And Matz remains on the hill. 82 pitches deep in his afternoon. Carlos Santana leads off. He's grounded out to first base in both his trips.
There's a very interesting note here, Gear, only because it brings into light the great fielding first baseman from the Philadelphia Athletics back in the 50s, Ferris Fain, who my father always talked about a little bit when I was a kid. Big Fancy Dan, tremendous glove, 2-time batting champion. But Bobby Avila is the last guy to Cleveland Indian to win a batting title, and that was in 1954.
Which is also the year that the Indians won 111 games.
Right.
Only to get swept in the World Series by the Giants.
And the only other team that have a longer drought of a batting champion is present-day Oakland Athletics, which were the Philadelphia A's, the Kansas City Athletics, and of course then they went to Oakland. And Ferris Fain won in 1952, the last one, at 344.
There's the good curveball by Matz for his 8th strikeout as he gets Santana. That matches a career high now for Matz.
Well, so nice to see Steven get that first start behind him. And it's nice to see, he's a youngster, it's his first full season, to see him be able to throw it, put it in his rearview mirror. You don't know how a pitcher's going to react to a shelling, and that was a shelling. And, you know, pitchers are going to get shelled.
That was his first experience.
Yes, it was his first major league loss, and boy, oh boy, he went all out on it.
I mean, it's hard to remember this when you think about his performances in the postseason last year, but this is only his 8th major league start in the regular season. 8. Gomes lifts one to shallow right. Granderson looking through the sunglasses and puts it away. 2 out. So Matt's rolling right along. He's retired 6 in a row and 11 of the last 12. The pride of Ward Melville High School looking his best today.
It's hard to believe with only 2 other pitchers in Met history on their opening season start didn't get out of the 2nd inning. That would be Mike Torres in '84. I witnessed that in Cincinnati, where Mike went 1 1/3 and gave up 6 runs there. And Jim McAndrew in '69 went 1+ and gave up 3 runs against the Expos.
He got better. Andrew was a valuable piece as a spot starter for the Mets in '69.
And '84 was the year that Mike Torres hit Dickie Thon in Houston. Remember? That was the end of Dickie Thon's. I mean, Dickie Thon was never the player he was.
Right. Well, he was headed for superstardom before that.
Yes. The shortstop for the Astros back then. I remember that.
He played another decade after that, but he was never the same.
Never. And such a great kid. What a nice man.
1-2 to Marlon Byrd. The curveball bounces. 2-2. And Byrd goes down swinging on the slider, and that retires the side. A career high 9 strikeouts for Steven Matz. Big afternoon for Matz and the Mets. They're up 6-0. Cadillac. Braves trying for their 3rd straight win, lead in Miami. Charlie Morton working on the shutout for the Phillies as they try to cool off the hot Nats who've won 7 in a row. And the Angels puttering long at 5 and 6, out quickly in Minnesota. Here's your Mets box score. Mets actually have 6 runs today, not the 4 that it says at the bottom.
We get a double Cespedes there. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
Can we bring that up, guys, before you correct it? That was a Conforto, not Cespedes in the 3-hole.
Well, Steven Matz getting some unleavened bread in his honor. No, Steven is not Jewish. But it's a nice sign anyway. 7 scoreless innings today for Steven. What a bounce back after a very difficult first start of the year.
Outstanding.
Could not have been better today. Career high 9 strikeouts in 7 innings. We presume he is done. Neil Walker leads off against Jabba Chamberlain in the 8th inning. Jabba making his 2nd appearance in this series. Worked 2/3 of an inning Friday night. So since Friday night when I brought it up, have you been able to see the video of Jabba Chamberlain and the midges?
Yes, I did. Terrible. Now, Steven Matz came into this game with an ERA of 37.80. Gary, where is it now?
I think I had him at 7.27, so he's dropped more than 30 points off his ERA.
Good for him.
What happens early in the season?
I don't think I've ever seen a 37.80.
Well, didn't we when the Phillies were in, didn't Daniel Stumpf come in with an infinity ERA?
Okay, but infinity is better because there's no numbers to quantify.
Yeah, well, Stumpf was able to lower his ERA below infinity, but then he got suspended for 80 games because he got caught using steroids. So
no, I missed that one.
Yeah, we won't be seeing him in Philly tomorrow. Walker's 0 for 3 today, and Jabba misses low, 3-2. Wilmer Flores on deck, then Alejandro De Aza in the 8th. Mets 6 runs, 9 hits. The Indians no runs and 3 hits. And Walker breaks his bat and floats one, and a nice play by Kipnis, making the shoestring catch for the first out.
Went a long way for this ball. It's all about getting to it. Nice play.
There's very little Kipnis has done wrong in this series. He's a good looking player. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Wilmer Flores, who's 0 for 3, getting the start at third base today with David Wright getting the full day off. The reason that David's day off was today is because Terry Collins wants to make sure David can play all 3 games in Philadelphia, where David has a history of crushing the ball.
Yeah, he has had great success there.
And Wilmer gets one on the air to left.
Just missed it.
Ramirez to the warning track to reel it in. That's the 2nd out. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by the New York State Department of Health.
And it's back for New York. Number 16, Alejandro De Aza.
All right, Doug, here's Alejandro De Aza with 2 out and nobody on. De Aza's gone 0 for 3 today. Hit the ball very hard his last time up, lining out to left field. Now facing Jabba Chamberlain. Corey Kluber went 6 innings, was charged with 6 runs and 9 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. So unless the Indians have a big rally in them, Kluber, like Matt Harvey, will begin his season 0-3. Jerry Blevins, Hansel Robles up in the Mets bullpen, with Steven Matz presumably done after 7 scoreless innings. You got Matz pitching a gem today. You've got Syndergaard, who has been the fastest out of the gate among the Mets starters, going tomorrow night. And you hope, if you're a Met fan, that those starting pitchers will start to get into that kind of rhythm, which is what was expected from this team.
There was a lot of inclement weather, ice cold. 6 off days the Mets have in April.
Well, they should have good weather in Philly. They have to play through a few raindrops, but it'll be warm in Atlanta, and then they go home to play the Reds and the Giants start in the next homestand.
Atlanta's got to believe is going to get in the 80s here.
Yep. Well, it's Atlanta. It's the South. It's supposed to be.
It's Atlanta, Jake.
Well, I'll be very happy if we can just get you out of Cleveland intact.
Oh, I'm fine.
I'm just saying. The history here is.
Got the armored car down in the bullpen area behind the right field fence is where the player's garage is.
You need the armor?
No.
Kipnis throws out Deaza. 1-2-3 inning for Job and Chamberlain, which sends us to the bottom of the 8th with the Mets up 6-0. Brickashaw Ferguson on why he decided to retire and the plans he has for life after football. Plus, could the Jets franchise quarterback be in this year's draft class on Jets Nation tonight at 7, only on SNY. Hansel Robles will be the first man out of the bullpen today for the Mets.
And the Mets bullpen really getting a helping hand here from Steven Matt's 7 strong shutout innings. They needed this. Catch their breath. Robles pitched in the first game of this series, won 1/3 of an inning in relief of Bastardo in that 6-5 Met win. There's the winner of today's race.
Congratulations, Mustard. I knew you had it in you. Well, you just can't overstate what Steven Matz' performance means for the Mets.
Oh, no fooling. And really, too, coming off a shelling, really, of Harvey, too, and the young Matz being able to, after coming off a bad start himself, following Matt's bad start, it shows a lot of inner strength.
Juan Uribe leads off, gets a first pitch slider, and skies it on the left side of the infield. Wilmer Flores secures it with 2 hands, 1 away. Those are old buddies. Sandy Alomar Jr., former Mets coach and player.
Former teammate.
I love the catching demonstrations he did a few years ago when he was with the Mets with Kevin.
He took his trade behind the plate very seriously.
Jose Ramirez taking a strike. And you know, he's a big man, and catching is a little more complicated when you have that kind of big frame.
We had Joel Skinner was the backup catcher and Sandy Alomar. Joel Skinner was the son of Bob Skinner, the old Pittsburgh Pirate, and of course Sandy Alomar Jr., the son of Sandy Alomar Sr.
And on 3 pitches, Robles disposes of Ramirez, and quickly there are 2 out.
That was that Cleveland team in 1990, and they were both tall, slender catchers.
Sandy Jr., a member of the Indians Hall of Fame. That lineup that the Indians had in the mid-90s was so good, Sandy used to bat 9th. And he was a tremendous hitter in his own right. There's Rajay Davis. I mean, think about what they had. Jim Thome, Carlos Baerga in his prime, and Omar Vizquel, and Albert Bell, and Kenny Lofton, and Manny Ramirez, and Sandy Alomar Jr. I mean, there was no soft spot in that entire lineup.
And they didn't win the World Series. The Marlins beat them. Al Leiter was on that team, correct? When they won that year? Was he on the team when they beat the Indians? They had a good pitching staff.
Yeah, they had Alex Fernandez.
Yes.
And Kevin Brown was on that.
They had a good starting rotation.
In '97, of course, they also lost to the Braves in '95. The Indians. When Tom Glavine shut them out. That's the only title the Braves won during that great stretch of division titles. Dominating inning for Hansel Robles. 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. And we roll on into the 9th. That's looking for the series victory. After the post game on Mets Insider from Kansas City to Citi Field for the home opener. Get a behind the scenes look at the start of the Mets 2016 season on Mets Insider, presented by WB Mason. Today after the post game only on SNY. Tyler Naquin, about 7 innings too late, takes over in center field for Rajay Davis.
And Dan Otero, the veteran, former Oakland A, comes in relief, his second appearance in this series. And Mr. Plawecki is up and has a 2 for 3 going. Make your day. put a 3 for 4 up there.
And both the hits were bolts. He hit a shot off the left field fence in the 4th inning, and then a bullet up the middle that almost clipped Corey Kluber in the 6th. Indians have gotten 2 scoreless innings out of their bullpen, but all the damage in this game was done in the first 2 innings. Mets put up 3 against Kluber in the 1st, and then the Sun and Rajai Davis's inability to negotiate it conspired to give the Mets 3 runs in the 2nd. 2 fly balls that Davis could not catch. A triple for Granderson with 2 out, and then later in the inning a double for Cespedes. But the Mets taking full advantage. And with Steven Matz brilliant today, it's been an easy afternoon. Down to first and off the glove of Napoli, and he can't run it down in time. And Plawecki is safe. That ball had some spin on it, but Napoli unable to secure it, and he'll get charged with an error.
Yes, sir. Did not get in front.
Second error of the day for the Indians, who had been charged with another one that was taken away. Not sure that was appropriate, but here's Granderson with a runner at first. Curtis has a triple and a walk today. He scored 2 runs. Mets will head to Philadelphia after the game today.
Should be a nice quick flight. Have a nice dinner at a normal hour with the rest of the folks.
And it should be a warm day in Philadelphia tomorrow, and a nice evening to watch Noah Syndergaard pitch against the Phillies.
I'll be heading home to Haji. He'll be very happy to have me for 4 days. And Haji, my cat, of course. And Gary, I'll pick you up Friday in Atlanta.
We'll look forward to your safe arrival. Now, are you arriving on the off day Thursday, or are you coming in on Friday?
I'm sorry?
Are you arriving on the off day Thursday?
Thursday. I got to get in at dinner hour.
So we've now covered the dinner hour tonight and the dinner hour on Thursday.
Yes.
Napoli makes a perfect throw to Lindor. The relay too late. So Napoli, after committing the error, makes a nice play to get the 3-6 force for the first down. Well, actually, it was a rebate covering at second, so it's a 3-5 fielder's choice. Still a hard thing to get used to.
It is.
Oh, in Uribe's case, the guy was a shortstop earlier in his career, so didn't feel out of place there. It's a few pounds ago. Here's Cabrera. Now, Struble is 2 for 4 today, and a very important and heady play in the 2nd inning with Granderson at 3rd and 2 out, and the infield playing back. He laid down a perfect bunt hit to drive in a run and make it a 4-0 game at the time. It's this one out to left field. Ramirez back onto the warning track to make the catch. So Cabrera going to ride the other way for the 2nd out. And now Juan Lagares will come up for the 2nd time.
Well, Lagares getting 2 at bats. That's a good thing. He's been kind of dying on the vine on the bench here a little bit with lack of left-handers against the Mets so far this year. So this is good that he gets 2 at bats.
Mets have faced only 1 lefty starter so far this season, and they won't see any in the next series in Philadelphia. So Lagares has had just 10 at bats this season. Juan struck out as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning, taking the spot of Conforto, who had 2 doubles and 2 RBIs today, and the only time he was retired was on a deep fly ball near the wall and left. Year-old Dan Otero. It's the sinker in for a strike, and it's 1-2. Otero first pitched to the big leagues with the Giants briefly in 2012. Spent most of his career on the other side of the bay in Oakland. 3 years there before coming to Cleveland. And a slow ground ball. Lindor waits for it, and that retires the side. 3 more outs to get for the Mets bullpen as they look for the rubber game here in Cleveland. Tonight on SNY, we'll have all the baseball and the hockey, and the Jets crew will be talking about DeBrickashaw Ferguson and his decision to walk away. All on Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30, only on SNY. We go to the last of the ninth. Mets have been on top from the outset, and Jerry Blevins will try and put on the finishing touches.
Well, Blevins this year so far has made it through April. Last year did not, as you recall, make it through April. The line drive off the forearm. And this is his first appearance in this series. He's one of the few well rested.
Blevins last worked Wednesday, went 2/3 of an inning against Miami, allowed a run on a hit. Faces Jason Kipnis, who's been held in check today. 2 strikeouts and a double play ball against the lefty Steven Matz, and now he faces another lefty in Blevins. Well, the Mets were able to put up early offense, but the story of this game is the performance of Steven Matz in his 8th career regular season start. 7 scoreless innings, 9 strikeouts, a career high, and a complete reversal from his first start of the year. Good curveball by Blevins to strike out Kipnis, who fans for the 3rd time today. That's 12 strikeouts for Met pitchers. 1 down in the 9th.
There's your curve. You see the tumbling ball there, and you see the break. That's a nice camera angle, is it not? The follow through by Blevins. That's a great angle. Love that.
Now Francisco Lindor, who's hit 2 balls hard today, a double to right center and a scalding line drive that Walker caught.
Twelve strikeouts for Met pitching today. 9 by Matz through 7.
Robles was dominant in the 8th, striking out a pair. And now Blevins ahead on Lindor 0-2. The Nats and Phillies are 1-1 in the bottom of the 7th. Phillies are home today, so they'll stay home to play the Mets tomorrow night. 0-2 from Blevins, and the curveball strikes him out. Plawecki can't find it though, and Lindor arrives safely at first. So it's a strikeout for Blevins and a wild pitch, enabling Lindor to reach.
Curveball. Just late with the glove. Not good footwork at all by Plawecki.
Well, you got a right-hand hitter coming up in Mike Napoli, and Terry Collins is on his way out to the mound. He's got Addison Reed up in the bullpen, and it appears Reed is going to come in and try and get the final 2 outs. So Blevins exits after notching back-to-back strikeouts on 6 pitches. 6-0 Mets in the 9th. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. We'll be right back to Cleveland.
I want that job.
The bottom of the 9th, one of the prime reasons why Steven Matz.
Well, what a performance. 7 innings strong, and boy, did the Mets need this in more ways than one. To win a series starting on the road trip here in the American League in Cleveland, and also the bullpen, which has been tuckered out, overused. And 9 strikeout performance, 3 hit, no runs, and there's the new pitcher to hopefully finish off this game. Addison Reed give up a home run in game what game in this series?
Friday night.
Friday night. That's the first game. You're right.
Against Carlos Santana, who's standing on deck. Mike Napoli at the plate, 0 for 3 today, and Reed throws one by him, and it's 0-2. Met pitchers now with 13 strikeouts. Blevins threw 6 pitches, got 2 strikeouts, but on the second one, Francisco Lindor reaching on the wild pitch. So there have been 8 pitches thrown in this inning, 8 strikes. Napoli makes contact but fouls it off. Matt struck out 9 in his 7 innings. Robles struck out 2 in the 8th inning. Robles did something that's very hard to do. He had a 7-pitch inning with 2 strikeouts. Struck him out. So the K's just keep on coming.
Slider.
Now I know pitchers have had 4 strikeout innings. Has a team ever had 2 pitchers combine for a 4 strikeout inning? That's what they'll have a chance to do here.
So people are going to look at the box score tomorrow and go, how did Blevins get 2 strikeouts in 1/3 of an inning?
It's a conundrum. Here's strike 1 to Carlos Santana with the Indians down to their final out of the afternoon. Mets bidding for their second shutout victory of this young season. Santana dribbles one up the line, and that kicks foul. And now the Indians down to their final strike. Who wants it? It's going to toss it away anyway. The two Met pitchers who've had 4 strikeout innings are Derek Wallace and Mike Stanton. They're the only 2 to do it.
Okay.
I don't think they've ever had a combined 4 strikeout inning. Reed's got a chance for that. Ahead on Santana, 0-2. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. 15 strikeouts for Met pitching today, capped by a 4-strikeout 9th inning. And the Mets take the rubber game of this series behind strong work from Steven Matz as they beat the Indians 6-0.
Well, very, very strong performance from Matz. He's the star of the game, coming off a horrible first start to start his season, where he didn't get out of the second inning. 7 strong innings, 3 hits, 9 strikeouts. The hitting stars, top of the order, did all the damage. Granderson scored twice. Cabrera scores twice. Conforto scores twice. RBIs from the top 4 hitters in the lineup. Actually 5. Duda actually got a 2-out RBI. So all good. A nice series for the Mets on the road to start out this 9-game road trip.
Conforto leading the attack with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. And Steven Matz did the rest. Met pitchers struck out 15. Matz had the first 9. And the Mets win it 6-0. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Katz Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northwellhealth.com/KIWH. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $12,500. Mets win it handily on a Sunday afternoon in Cleveland. 6-0 the final. More from Progressive Field is coming right up.